What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Brawl in Cell Block 99, written and directed by S. Craig Zeller, starring Vince Vaughn. Alright, I'm going to try and make this review as short as I possibly can. I overall think that Cell Block 99 is a viscerally, entertainingly good, grindhouse-inspired type of prison movie. I think S. Craig Zeller, he is proving to be one of my favorite filmmakers working today, having now seen all three of his theatrical efforts. This man knows how to do these dark, gritty, ultra violent, but yet very stylized type of movies, and Cell Block 99 is no exception. I think this movie is great. It has a very simple plot to it, and but this movie is not really about plot. It's about showing you just this graphic, extreme violence. Uh, if this movie does have a plot, the movie follows this character called Bradley Thomas, played by Vince Vaughn, who who just loses his job as a auto mechanic and finds out that his wife has been cheating on him, and his whole life is falling apart until eventually it's able to work itself out, and he ends up being a drug courier. Now, on one fateful day, a bus goes completely wrong, and he ends up going to jail. And while in jail, he pretty much has to acclimate himself to the prison system until getting a visit from a particular person who, now, the man that he was working for is a man called Elazar, and Elazar pretty much lost his stash, was confiscated by the cops, and two of his guys were thrown into prison. Now, Vince Vaughn now has to carry out a task as a kind of a make good for this Elazar character, in which he has to kill a man called Christopher Ridge, who is in a different prison called Redleaf. Now, if Vince Vaughn fails to do this task, if Bradley fails to do this task, then Elazar will have Vince Vaughn's wife, played by Jennifer Carpenter, and his unborn baby daughter, both killed. And this, of course, is motivation for Vince Vaughn for Bradley to do a lot of violence in order to protect his family. And this is where the character of Bradley starts to show off his boxing skills, because the character is a former professional boxer, and this is where this is where Bradley really shows his badassery. Now, there's a scene prior where he pretty much dismantles his wife's car with his bare hands when he finds out she's been cheating on him. But when we actually see him get physical with other people, that's where he becomes a imposing physical threat, and Vince Vaughn plays this role so good. Vince Vaughn is the star of this movie. I cannot picture anyone else playing the role of Bradley Thomas and making it work. Vince Vaughn made it work. Vince Vaughn has like this quiet, intimidating presence to him, but he also has a good dry sense of humor to the character as well. And I just love how he plays this character. He Bradley is not a nice guy by any means necessary, but he's not a guy that you necessarily hate in a way. You know, we want to root for Bradley, but at the same time we know that the man is extremely vicious, and it shows when he's attacking prison guards, breaking their arms, breaking their legs. There's one particular scene where he beats a guy to death, and then he like scrapes his face on the floor with his foot, and you see his skull fragments. We see him kill a cop with his bare hand just by banging a door against his neck. And when he gets to the villain Alcazar, he pretty much stomps his head completely off, decapitating him. Like, Bradley Thomas does some really vicious, just violent stuff, and it's a joy to watch. Like I said, this is a very grindhouse-inspired type of movie, and S. Craig Zeller did a great job at creating that visual aesthetic for this movie. From a directorial wise, like I said, Zeller, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite filmmakers right now. And this movie does have a very slow burning pace, and it does drag in a lot of areas where it does take a while for it to get started. But once the action sequences do start to take its place, the movie gets really visceral and really, really entertaining. And like I said, if this movie didn't have Vince Vaughn in the lead, I don't think it would be even remotely as good if you didn't have Vaughn and Zeller in this movie. If you didn't have Zeller's direction and Vince Vaughn's performance, this movie would not have been as good or as memorable to me as it is. And like I said, the writing in this movie I think is actually really, really strong. I like, the Jennifer Carpenter's character as the wife. though I think she's more or less a damsel in distress. But I like how Zeller gives her a chance to redeem herself by killing the abortionist who tried to kill her unborn child. So she does have a nice little action. She just get to have a little measure of end for herself. And like I said, I enjoy Vince Vaughn in this movie. I think he's great. I think the supporting cast in this movie is great also. I like Don Johnson as the Warden Tubbs, who was like this very cruel warden who's a very cruel warden of Redleaf. I like his character as well, and I like how the two prisons are so distinct from one another. The first prison is a little bit more well adjusted, while the second prison looks more like this dungeon, this dark, grim, gritty looking dungeon that is like the worst place on earth to want to be in. I like how both these different prisons have different distinct aesthetics and just different and they act as like different bases of operations on how these two separate prisons are run. I like that dichotomy. That dichotomy is really interesting, and it works for me as well too. So yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on Cell Block 99. I'm gonna give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it immensely. I think I like this movie much better than Drag to Cause Concrete. This movie does not feel like it's overly long. It ends at it moves like 130 minutes. It makes use of its time. Like I said, there's a lot of areas where it can drag a little bit, but the story and the acting is gripping enough to keep you really entertained, and the action sequences are just vicious, brutal, realistic, and in your face. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Brawl and Cell Block 99. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. My name is AJ Legend. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.